The world's holding its breath. Israel and Iran, two major regional powers, are caught in a conflict that's rapidly heating up. A shadow war now out in the open. We've seen airstrikes, casualties are rising on both sides, and the official statements are getting more intense by the day. As the war rages on, there's one huge question everyone's asking. Should the United States, with all its military and economic might, jump into the middle of this? Believe me, it's not a simple yes or no. Getting involved could bring big rewards, but it also comes with some truly scary risks. Today, we're cutting through the noise to really look at every single pro and con for America if it decides to get directly involved in the Israel-Iran situation. The deep hostility between Iran and Israel began after the 1979 Iranian Revolution. Before then, Iran under the Shah maintained cooperative relations with Israel. But after the revolution, Iran's new Islamic regime declared Israel illegitimate and made opposition to it both a religious and political duty. Iranian leaders regularly call Israel a Zionist enemy and threaten to wipe it off the map. In June 2025, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion to strike Iranian nuclear facilities in Natanz and Fordow, reacting to intelligence that Iran was approaching weapons-grade enrichment. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu framed the strike as a necessary move to stop a nuclear threat and potentially trigger regime change. The US already has a significant military presence in the Middle East, with tens of thousands of troops across the region. If the US joins the fight, it's not about building up from scratch. It's about activating forces already within striking distance. A major reason to get involved is supporting a close ally. Doing so would reaffirm America's commitment to Israel and send a global message about the reliability of US alliances. Inaction could project weakness, inviting challenges from adversaries. Some argue that strong US action might actually prevent wider escalation. By showing it's willing to fight, the US might deter Iran or its proxies from launching broader attacks. Intervention could also help destroy Iran's nuclear capabilities, something that's considered critical by many US and Israeli officials. The US has military assets that Israel lacks, such as bunker-busting bombs that could strike Iran's underground nuclear facilities. A quick and decisive US-backed operation could shorten the conflict and reduce casualties in the long term. Engaging directly might also give the US more influence over post-war outcomes. America could help shape new regional security arrangements, counter growing Russian and Chinese influence, and reinforce its leadership during an unstable global moment. But the risks are considerable. A wider regional war could erupt, drawing in Iran's allies across Iraq, Syria, Yemen, and Lebanon. American troops stationed in the Middle East, roughly 50,000 across 19 bases, would become immediate targets. Civilian casualties are another concern. Over 500,000 Americans live in Israel alone. In a broader war, many could be at risk, with severe consequences for US public opinion and policy. Then there's the economic fallout. A regional war involving the US could spike oil prices and disrupt the global economy. The Strait of Hormuz, a choke point near Iran through which 20% of the world's oil passes, could become a flashpoint. A major disruption there could trigger a global energy crisis, fuel inflation, and push the US toward recession. Iran could also strike back unconventionally, with global terrorist attacks or crippling cyber attacks targeting US infrastructure like power grids or financial systems. These threats go far beyond traditional battlefield concerns. There's also the strategic cost. A US-Iran war could pull resources away from other priorities like supporting Ukraine or deterring China in the Pacific. Some analysts argue that continued Israeli action, without direct US military participation, might weaken Iran enough to serve US interests without escalating American involvement. There's also the issue of unintended consequences. How would other regional powers like Turkey, Saudi Arabia, or Egypt respond? Could direct war boost extremist groups or destabilize fragile governments? And what precedent would this set for other nations seeking or developing nuclear capabilities? While some political leaders have pushed for a decisive end to Iran's nuclear ambitions, current reports suggest the US has so far declined Israel's request for direct military participation. Instead, it's offering intelligence and helping defend against Iranian retaliation, trying to walk a careful line. The decision on whether America should get directly involved in an Israel-Iran war is enormous. It could be one of the biggest foreign policy choices of our generation. The arguments for it: supporting a key ally, possibly stopping a wider war, ending the #1 terror state from gaining nuclear weapons, using military strength for a quick solution, and boosting US leadership are strong. But they're up against some terrifying counter-arguments. The risk of an out-of-control regional war, many American casualties, crippling economic damage, deep divisions at home and abroad, and the chance of devastating retaliatory attacks. There are no easy answers here, just a series of incredibly tough choices. Policymakers have to deal with the immediate pressures of a fast-moving crisis while also thinking about the long-term and possibly irreversible effects of their actions. The path they choose won't just shape America's role in the Middle East for years to come. It could change the entire global order. The stakes really couldn't be higher. So, what do you think? This is a really complex issue with strong feelings on all sides. What factors do you think are most important for US leaders to consider? Is there a level of involvement you think is justified, or should America stay out of it completely? Share your thoughtful opinions in the comments below. And if you found this breakdown helpful, please give this video a like and subscribe for more explorations of critical global issues.